Walker is proposing new drilling, new mining, new something. And everything that he's proposing is taking away from our clean water and our clean air. And I am just hoping that whoever of you is elected, and whoever we elect in this time around is going to be elected in November, I'll tell you that. Whoever of you is elected in August. But I'm hopeful that we will have a voice in Janesville that will stand up for the environment and say no to the mining and the drilling and the eroding of our environment.
Question about the environment. Who wants?
Thank you. I've touched on this more than once about focus on energy. That is one way to start full funding focus on energy. Creates jobs, protects the environment, reduces our reliability on the importing of fossil fuels and such. But I just want to give you an example of how I, in a small way, have supported protecting the environment. A couple of years ago on the school board, there was an administrative proposal to put a cell tower in the middle of the Marshall green space. And I was told by my father that there's only so much land. You can't keep this sprawl going. So I was out front and said, no, get that cell tower off the green space around the schools. And I have to applaud Yuri Rashkin as well. I was knocking on doors, and a friend of his said he was very vocal in putting a stop to the sand and gravel mine over on the Hughes farm on Boyd Avenue. When I heard that, I couldn't believe it. So you deserve a lot of credit for that, and I support that. You know, that continues to happen. But there's a real strong initiative in the school system to educate our young people about protecting the environment for future generations. Now it's just not my grandchildren, it's my grandchildren's grandchildren as well. There's only so much land. And for those up to say in this mitigation, you can dig this mine up in northern Wisconsin in this beautiful land, but then you can go down here in the Janesville area and create a pond, and that's okay, because you've created some wetland. You know, no, that's just not going to work, but it's a great question. Thank you.
You know, Nancy, we will need an imposing step, and that's why it's a shame that they took a law that worked and stripped it down and had the company write the law again so that they could mine. Because we can get jobs, but we can do it environmentally sound, and we have to protect everything. I mean, I'm very concerned about water. I think that is our next great crisis. And I think it's vitally important that we protect the surface water and the underground water. And all these things are so scientific. I just know that we'll all have to, whoever wins this is going to have to really delve into the science of environment. You know, I think we all have the opportunity to talk to Wisconsin environmental voters. Yeah, we don't have conservation voters. And they, you know, they have so many vital questions to ask us. And, you know, it'll be an educational process, and it's those kind of people that will help us. They'll help us be aware of what the impacts on our laws will be. And I think that's one of the times when I said, I hope I listen, and I hope I listen carefully, because there are going to be experts that are going to tell us how things will be harmed if we do them or if we don't do them, and I think it's imperative on us to pay attention.
So you may have noticed that there's some water being served and available. So right there, our water now comes in a piece of plastic and it's bottled in Connecticut. And that's we live next to the biggest freshwater reserve, I believe, in Lake Michigan. And we need to make sure we protect that. We have people up north who are concerned about their water, and even though my first priority will always be 44th District, we have to think bigger. We have to think about what's good for the state, and we have to think that people up north deserve the same clean water that we get. It's really important stuff. Now, with the gravel bit that Kevin brought up, thank you for very nice. What happened there is a proposal was brought up, and residents came out, and the residents spoke very strongly. and the council and myself listen. And that has always been my approach to public service, is you listen to all the people that are going to be involved and affected by the decision. Because that's how you make the best decision. You know, public service, it's so straightforward. Listen to people, do what the best you can do, and if people feel that you've done a good enough job, you get reelected or you do something else. It's so straightforward. I mean, environment is something that we have, and we have to preserve it. I've stood up in defense of a lot of things, and Nancy and I, we've agreed on some things, we disagreed on some things, and that's fine too, because we can't always agree on everything, and that's fine because it's a process. But I really do appreciate everyone's here support for environment, and let's hope that maybe we can get water bottled in Wisconsin. Thank you.
Well, yeah, I think, by the time we get to the fourth person, they've said it all. But thank you for the question, Nancy. I mean, I think it's important. We need to, I think job development is important in Wisconsin, but I think when it potentially impact or harm the environment, we need to, I think, take a more steady approach, think long term, and I'm really proud of the Democrats, and especially Republican Senator Schultz, for standing strong and not caving into the rest of his party. And so I think it does show that people do think about the state before party, which I think is important. But one thing too I'd like to say, here locally, I support the Greens Here Legacy Initiative. I think Janesville needs to move forward with the rest of the state. But I know a lot of that came from the Sustainable Janesville Committee, which Yuri worked a lot and really hard on when he was on the council. But also one thing I'd like to see done too is, I think Tommy Thompson has really hurt us, well, how hasn't he? But one thing that he did was, the DNR secretary used to be appointed by the board of the DNR. And he took that away and made it a cabinet position, and by doing so, he made it a political position. And I think when it comes to conservation, when it comes to our natural resources, when it comes to our air, our water, and our soil, politics be damned. There's no partisan, there shouldn't be anything partisan about our environment. And so I'd like to see that restored back to an independent board with the DNR and take the politics out of it.